I want to make a couple predictions here about the future. Um, I've been making predictions about the future for some time now. I predicted years in advance that um, the left here in the United States would want to implement um, a healthcare, um, a universal healthcare system, and I said they're going to model it off of what they do in Switzerland. They're gonna force you to purchase private insurance, and that's exactly what they do in Switzerland. And I had the benefit of actually living in Switzerland um, several years before um, the Affordable Care Act was even an idea within the Democrat Party. Uh, before Obama was even a candidate for president. So let's see. I've made lots of predictions in the past. You're just gonna have to take my word on it. Uh, my prediction about the left as of 2017 is that they are going to become violent and desperate. Desperate and violent. They are not going to change anytime soon. Don't expect any kind of self-reflection on their behalf, on their part. There are uh, some people on the left that are trying to reform the left, and I guess the biggest figure I know on the internet is Sargon of Assad, and I think he's honestly trying to reform the left, and I wish him well. I hope he gets rid of all the cultural Marxism, the neo-Marxism. I don't like to use the term cultural Marxism because the neo-Marxists obviously have a racial angle to their extremism, their extreme politics, and it's an anti-white um, neo-Marxism. So I don't call them. They're not necessarily. First of all, Marxism has always been cultural. Even the original Marxism, right? Classical Marxism was cultural, right? It was economic as well, but it was also cultural. It always was cultural. So to say cultural Marxism is a bit redundant, but uh, apparently Engels also published early writings about the genocide of lower races um, being necessary to move the proletariat revolution forward because those people we apparently the masses couldn't afford to wait for more primitive races to catch up to the revolution. So apparently Engels was calling for racial genocide before the Nazis ever did. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's always been a racial and cultural angle coming out of Marxism, and I prefer to call today's Marxism neo-Marxism. And the thing is that for the left to change, they have to give up their neo-Marxism or their Marxism really in general. Um, their class and race warfare um, is dragging them down. Um, and there's more to it than that. They have a social hierarchy that is based upon a limited palette of of rhetorical what do I want to say? They have a limited vocabulary, yeah, and that they have a rhetorical system, yeah, that benefits their social hierarchy, right? So they have, I guess you can say, rhetorical identifiers where they virtue signal, right? And that basically is how their entire um, social structure, their network is put together, right? So with these kind of the social rewards and consequences in place, within the left, that means that they're going to have a really hard time changing and self-reflecting, because they have a rhetorical blockade that they have to deconstruct, really, before they can change. But I would like to see the left change. I'd like to see the Democrat Party change and the Labor Party change and whatnot. Um, I'm not a big socialist, and I don't expect them to give up socialism anytime soon. Um, but I'd like to see them embrace more of a classical liberal platform. I won't be holding my breath, but if I could reform the Democrat Party, they would become a classical liberal party. But they're never going to give up their heart bleeding and their socialism. The only chance they have is to give up their class and race warfare. But they are heavily socially and intellectually invested in their neo-Marxism. So long, uh, it will be a long spiraling plunge down further into the depths. For the left, they are a bunch of lost souls, and I think we're going to see an increase in violence. I think we're going to see an increase in mental and emotional disorders and suicides and all the like, because this isn't just happening in the United States, it's happening all throughout the West. And a lot of these special snowflake types, um, I don't think are going to be very happy with their entire worldview coming unraveled.